The Jewish people find themselves completely displaced from their homeland, living under forced captivity in the heart of Babylon. This physical exile presents an acute theological crisis. It forces a question of divine sovereignty. Has their God been defeated by the local deities of their captors? Every day, the exiles are confronted by the scale of the Babylonian Empire and its dominant idol-worshipping culture. For the displaced Jews, adopting the local religion offers a path towards social survival and assimilation. If the Israelites do not actively reinforce their core covenant identity, their physical displacement will likely lead to total spiritual erasure. Isaiah 44 acts as a prophetic time capsule. It is a text written over a century prior, designated specifically to be read by these future exiles. Its primary function is divine reassurance, reminding the captives that they have not been forgotten by their Creator. Its secondary purpose is to isolate the contradictions inherent in the manufacture of Babylonian idols. The chapter employs prophetic apologetics, positioning God's foreknowledge of historical events as the standard for divine authority. Isaiah 44 provides a structured analysis of the Babylonian worldview, protecting the identity of the captives through logic. In verses 1 and 2, Isaiah states, "Yet now hear, O Jacob my servant, and Israel whom I have chosen. Fear not, O Jacob my servant, and thou, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen." The prophet identifies the exiles by three names: Jacob, their birth name; Israel, their name of character; and Jeshurun, which means the righteous one. God assigns these identities for a specific purpose. They are chosen to serve as living witnesses to the world that Jehovah is the only God. In verses 3 and 4, Isaiah writes, "For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses." This utilizes a metaphor of water revitalizing parched earth. This imagery indicates that as they follow the Lord's teaching, they will prosper. It promises an outpouring of the Spirit, seasonal rains for the land, and the stability of thriving offspring. In verse 5, Isaiah details ascending levels of commitment. One shall say, and another shall call, and another shall subscribe, and surname himself. These steps represent a progression, declaring faith, active repentance, making a formal covenant, and fully adopting the identity of Israel. Through these escalating milestones, God reconstructs their internal identity. This internal structure acts as armor against external cultural pressure. In verse 6, Isaiah establishes divine authority. "Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last, and beside me there is no God." This text lists absolute titles: the Lord, King of Israel, Redeemer, Lord of hosts, and the first and last. The phrase "his Redeemer" refers specifically to Israel's Redeemer. Furthermore, the title Lord of Hosts suggests that redemption from Babylon will be achieved through the strength of an army. Verse 6 establishes a definitive claim: God is eternal and uncreated, asserting an absolute exclusivity. In verses 7 and 8, Isaiah issues a challenge to other deities: "And who, as I, shall call and shall declare it, and set it in order for me? Let them shew unto them. Fear ye not. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it?" God challenges local gods to accurately sequence history before it occurs. Because God has declared the order of events since the time of the ancient people, the seed of Abraham, the Israelites are told to fear not. They are to serve as witnesses to this foreknowledge. For Isaiah, this claim of foreknowledge is the specific metric that distinguishes a sovereign deity from a silent idol. Isaiah pivots to satire in verses 9 through 11, writing, "They that make a graven image are all of them vanity. Let them stand up, yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together." He defines idol makers and their creations as vanity or worthless. In verse 12, Isaiah highlights the physical reality of forging a god. "The smith with the tongs both worketh in the coals. Yea, he is hungry, and his strength faileth. He drinketh no water, and is faint." The text emphasizes the physical hunger and physiological exhaustion of the human blacksmith. Verse 13 describes the carpenter. "The carpenter stretcheth out his rule. He marketh it out with a line. He fitteth it with planes, and maketh it after the figure of a man." The carpenter uses mathematical tools to artificially proportion a block of wood to human standards. In verse 14, Isaiah details the origin of these materials. He heweth him down cedars, and taketh the cypress and the oak. He planted an ash, and the rain doth nourish it. Isaiah contrasts the eternal nature of the Creator with these biological materials. The tree has a definite beginning. It requires a human to plant it, and relies on rain to grow. Any entity constrained by biological growth cycles and dependent on human labor and earthly tools is demonstrably not sovereign over the cosmos. In verses 15 and 16, Isaiah establishes the utility of this wood. Then shall it be for a man to burn, for he will take thereof, and warm himself. Yea, he kindleth it, and baketh bread. He burneth part thereof in the fire. With part thereof he eateth flesh. The human burns half of the tree for warmth and to cook food. That half of the tree reaches its natural end. It is reduced to common ash. Verse 17 exposes a logical contradiction. And the residue thereof he maketh a god, even his graven image. He falleth down unto it, and worshippeth it, and prayeth unto it, and saith, Deliver me, for thou art my God. The human carves the unburned residue of that same firewood, and begs it for deliverance. In verses 18 and 19, Isaiah points out the failure of basic reasoning. They have not known nor understood, and none considereth in his hearth, to say, I have burned part of it in the fire, and shall I make the residue thereof an abomination? The idolater fails to apply deductive logic to the paradox. Isaiah concludes the argument in verse 20. He feedeth on ashes. A deceived heart hath turned him aside, that he cannot deliver his soul, nor say, Is there not a lie in my right hand? The deceived mind is unable to question its own fabricated reality. For the prophet, idolatry is not merely a spiritual failure, but a collapse of logical epistemology. Isaiah 44 positions the eternal Redeemer against the manufactured idol, an object that begins as a sapling and ends as cooking ash. This logical framework served as a theological anchor. It was designed to preserve the Jewish exiles, ensuring they did not vanish into the Babylonian Empire. The prophet provided a defense of their identity based on the distinction between the created and the Creator. Armed with this perspective, the captives were prepared to witness of their God while in exile. This concludes our overview.